After hearing what Jack said, those from the other departments that Jack hadn't mentioned left while feeling dejected. Of course, they didn't forget to throw envious gazes at the three that had stayed behind. This place was competition. If people of your department were given a job, then your salary would increase. It's just like how commission was earned. If many people of your department get employed, then you would get much income from the interest that the company would be cutting from the income of those employed through the company. This way, sir. The lady showed Jack to her department. Since Jack had said that he wanted those from the sales department, but he could also use those from the cleaning and delivery department, it meant that he was prioritizing the sales department. After taking a seat, the lady asked, "What kind of employee do you want? A charming girl? A mature lady? A youngster? An able-bodied man?" Jack was rendered speechless by this person on charge. It was as if the people here were clothes and she was talking about the clothing styles. Anyway, he still answered, "I want someone capable. I don't want a person that would be needing my supervision every moment. And it should be someone that can work in a grocery store." Hearing Jack's description of what he wanted, the lady nodded her head. Then she turned towards the people who were looking for a job and called out, "Agnes, come over." A lady who could be said to be a beauty of 89 stood up from the crowd under the envious gazes of her fellows. She walked hurriedly towards the counter. According to what he saw, she had to be in her late 20s if not her early 30s. The way that she was walking was filled with both determination and confidence. Jack nodded as he saw this. It seemed that this wasn't a person that was going to be shy in front of customers. He just hoped that she was a person that could work under minimal or no supervision at all. As soon as she arrived at the counter, the lady who was in charge of the sales department did the introduction. "This is Agnes. She has worked in a grocery store for 3 years and the store was closed due to the owner of the store leaving the city. She hasn't been on duty for a week now, so her skills haven't gotten rusty yet." Jack nodded. This was what he was looking for. Since she had experience in running a grocery store, then she could advise him on what he would be needed to do in terms of stock and prices. One had to know that although Jack had studied, he wasn't proficient in running a store. Furthermore, a grocery store was different from a bakery. So everything had their own way that needed to be followed for the profits to be maximized. He nodded his head to show his acceptance. As for the details and whatever, this broker's company could deal with it. If there were any problems that were going to occur, then he would be sure to come back to this company to demand for compensation. Well, with 50 million in his account, the store could be said not to be worth that much. But still, there was no harm in making sure that his first business didn't fail. So, after he was done with the sales department, he immediately headed to the delivery department. This was another area that needed trustworthy people. It wouldn't be good if the person that was supposed to deliver goods suddenly runs away with the goods. The one in charge here was a middle-aged man. Here, after giving the terms such as knowing the city well, and that person must have done several grocery deliveries, knows how to drive, and so on, he got a person. His name was George. Although he was only 23 years old, he had been working as a delivery person for 5 years and none of his previous employers had a complaint. Jack nodded. This was what he wanted. As for the cleaning department, there were not that many conditions other than being able to work with others in the store. After he was done selecting, it was time to discuss about payment and contract. Jack wanted long-term employees, not those that would work for 3 days and then disappear or quit. So, the sales department would be taking $3,000 a month, the delivery $2,500, and cleaning would be $2,000 a month. The term that they had signed was that they would be paid the first month in advance, but the working period would be 6 months. After 6 months, if they wanted to continue working for him, they would sign another contract to extend their working period. As for the service fee, it was just $1,000 which Jack paid without much thought. In total, he had spent $8,500 on this trip. But even so, the amount in his account didn't even budge. With the issues done, Jack left the broker's company with 3 employees. Agnes, the confident lady, George, the resolute young man, and finally Charles, a reserved young man. Since he didn't have a car that could carry the 3 of them, they had to take a taxi. But they were not going to the store immediately. They were going to Delight Mall. The reason for that was simple. He had to get a pair uniform for his employees. After that, he would see if there were things that they needed to make their work efficient. Seeing that they had arrived in front of one of the most popular malls in the city, the 3 couldn't help but wonder if the grocery store was located here. Of course, this thought was a fleeting as it was eliminated the next second. After all those that opened their business inside Delight Mall were super rich and wouldn't need a small company like Dan's brokers to help them get employees. As long as they posted that there was vacancy, it was a sure bet that there would be a long line of graduates looking for an opportunity to be employed. The reason as to why they were here, Jack told them, "We have to get you some uniform for the store. The store is unique, so you'll get several pairs of uniform. We're here because the uniforms are going to be custom made." As soon as the trio heard this, they were aware. It seemed that the boss that had employed them this time was going to be generous. After entering the mall, they headed to the second floor where clothes stores and shops were located. Terran Designers. That's where Jack took the trio. A saleslady immediately welcomed them with a smile. "Hello, sirs and madam. What would you like today? I want you to design a uniform for these three. And you can help me by making more of them, not just a few," Jack said. After hearing Jack's words, the lady nodded and said, "This way, sir. I'll call the manager." Jack and the trio sat in the waiting area as the lady hurried into his small office to call the manager of the store. Although the three couldn't be said to be rich, they had visited such a mall either during their lines of work, shopping, or window shopping. Thus, they weren't looking around like village people coming to a city for the first time. After about a minute, a middle-aged man in a suit hurried over from the office while accompanied by the saleslady. "Hello, sir. I am the manager of this branch, Calvin Dexton. I have been told that you would like us to design a uniform for you." He greeted Jack before asking, "That's right. I want a good uniform. One that has been designed well by top designers. For men, a shirt, a trouser, shoes, and a blazer. As for women, it would be a blouse, a skirt, shoes, and a blazer." Jack went on to give the description of what he wanted. Of course, the shoes and things like a badge wouldn't need too much effort as shoes could be easily found in the store and the badge could be easily designed. He didn't want to go into different stores just to get this done. That was the reason as to why he wanted everything to be done by Terran Designers. They were a top clothing company in the country. Seeing that Jack was a big client, the manager treated him even better and with more respect. The name that Jack gave wasn't Alfix Grocery Store. This was another person's name. So, he simply gave the name of the store following his own name, Jackson Enterprise. For the badge, they would have to add a G.D, which stood for Grocery Department. He was going to start an enterprise, and the grocery was just one of the businesses that he was going to run. The trio who were listening from the side were shocked after hearing that Jack was going to start an enterprise. They felt proud that they were going to be the first employees. After getting out of the mall, Jack looked at the three employees of his and said, "Let's get some cars for the store." It wasn't long before they arrived in front of a Bentley Motors supply branch in Inchoate City. They were already in the center of the city, and as a result, they got there in a little over 10 minutes. Jack wanted to buy several cars. One would be for delivery, another for his employees' transportation, and finally, his own car. A bike was good, but during harsh weather, it wasn't suitable at all. This Bentley store had several cars that he could purchase. So, without any hesitation, the four of them entered the shop. It was like a showroom as he could see that there were several cars that were put on display. He nodded to himself. As expected of this brand, there were several cool-looking cars here. As a young man, his blood obviously boiled as he looked at several sport cars that were present here. He kept the urge of going over there and buying all the sport cars in the shop as he looked at the salesperson that was heading his way. It was a man who was in his early 30s. He could be said to be handsome, but not by much. Just like always, the store wasn't congested as cars were different from clothes and other things. "Welcome to our shop, sir. We have different types of cars here. We have sport cars, SUVs, pickups, and so on. I'm sure you'll like them." As soon as the man arrived in front of Jack, he began introducing what was present in the shop. The other salespersons could only blame themselves for being slow to react when it came to receiving a customer. They were paid in terms of commission. After all, the one that sold the most expensive car would obviously receive a high commission. From the Jack's handsome looks, it was obvious that he wasn't a street boy that had just come to admire the cars. What's more, he was being followed by three people, and they could easily that all three of them were older than him. "Well, I want an SUV and a sports car." Jack was direct about what he wanted. There was no need for him to beat around the bush. He wanted a car, and he wanted to buy it. Only then would he be able to do things faster as the store still needed to be opened. After hearing Jack's words, the salesperson's eyes immediately lit up. This was money. An SUV and a sports car. This was money falling directly onto his lap in form of commission. The other salespersons were even more dejected. They kept on scolding themselves for not acting faster. "This way, sir." The salesperson led the way as he showed Jack and the trio the cars that were available. After going a few rounds in the shop, Jack decided on a Bentley Bentayga. The salesperson immediately gave the introduction. The hybrid powertrain at the heart of the Bentayga Odyssean Edition delivers Bentley's hallmark combination of exhilarating power in tandem with an impossibly refined ride. Its pairing of an advanced E-motor with a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged V6 petrol engine can deliver a combined 456 brake horsepower, 462 PS, and 516 pound-ft, 700 Newton-meters of torque. You can drive for at least 28 miles, 45 kilometers, on electric power only, WLTP, a significant increase compared to the previous model. The Bentayga Odyssean Edition, limited to just 70 cars globally, can be considered a new milestone on Bentley's sustainability journey. It has an intelligent navigation system as well as it is connected to Wi-Fi and online radio. When we talk about comfort, the front seat comfort specification is fitted as standard, offering ventilation in both front seats, plus a massage function and winged comfort headrests. The seats also gain adjustable cushion and backrest bolsters. Jack listened to the lengthy description of the SUV and nodded. This was just a good car for his employees just in case they would have to be moving around. After all, he was going to start an enterprise. How much for the car? Seeing that everything was good, he asked for the price. Well, it wasn't like it was going to matter about the price as he had enough money in his account. The thing that made him so happy was the fact that there were only 70 of such cars in the world. Thinking of this, he had an idea. How many of this car aren't sold yet? He wanted to buy all the cars that were remaining. The salesperson was just about to talk about the price when he was interrupted by Jack's question. He opened his mouth, but he couldn't reply for a while. Seeing Jack's serious expression, he immediately said, "Ahem, there were about 38 the last time that I checked last week. As for the price, it would cost $650,399. Jack nodded. The price wasn't that high. So, he would pay. But after hearing that out of 70 there were only 38 left, and that was the previous week, he immediately got anxious and said, "Don't worry about the price. Look at how many of the cars are left and make sure that they're not going to sell them. I am going to buy them all." Those that heard him were left awed and speechless at the same time. "Did you hear? That guy wants to buy all the Bentley Bentaygas that are left in the world. This person sure is rich. I heard that there are 70 of the same design globally. It has been a while now. It's obvious that they have already sold some of them. Huh, I guess Philip is lucky to get such a customer today. He'll surely get much commission. Hey, if there are only 70 of such cars globally, then why is this one in a showroom of such a small city? This is the policy. They will rotate in different shops in different cities. Next week, this car would have been taken to another city if it wasn't going to be purchased." Oh, I get it. Even Agnes, Charles, and George were surprised on seeing that Jack wanted to buy more than 10 cars that cost over $650,399. They then thought to themselves, our boss is rich for sure. Philip, the salesperson that was attending to Jack, immediately rushed to call the manager of the shop. In just about 2 minutes, the manager came rushing alongside Philip. At this time, a small crowd was already gathering around Jack. Even those that had come to the shop to window shop had already forgotten about it. "Hello, sir. I am Evans Morris, the manager of Bentley Shop and Coet branch. I've heard that you were asking about how many of the Bentaygas are left. According to the information that I've just checked, there are 24 of them left." As soon as he arrived, the manager greeted Jack respectfully before telling him about his inquiry. "Although only 20 are left, I want them all. Can you organize for them to be delivered? I'll come back tomorrow to give you the address for the delivery." Jack said, "That can be done, sir." As soon as he said that, he immediately charged back to his office to do the booking so as to make sure that none of the remaining cars were sold. After all, if he sold these cars in his shop, he might even get promoted. Jack looked at Philip and handed him the card. Philip received the card with trembling hands. He was just about to go and complete the procedures for the car that was currently available in the shop when Jack stopped him. "We haven't seen the sports car yet." This immediately reminded Philip that Jack wasn't here for the SUV alone, but for a sports car and a pickup. His eyes shone with even more splendor as he thought of the commission that he was going to receive at the end of the day. He immediately became enthusiastic as he led the way towards the sports car section. The crowd followed along as they wanted to see what this nouveau riche will buy next. He found a Bentley Continental that caught his eye, and Philip immediately gave the introduction of the car. This is a Continental GT. There is no more accomplished combination of high performance with the practicality you need to truly enjoy long journeys. Its twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter engine has the power to deliver exhilarating performance the moment you put your foot down, accompanied by the much-loved exhaust note that only a V8 engine can provide. With 4 driving modes ranging from comfort to sport, and the facility to configure your own settings, the Continental GT guarantees a gratifying drive. The power of the Continental GT is truly formidable. 542 brake horsepower, 550 PS, 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.0 seconds. And an incredible top speed of 198 miles per hour, 318 kilometers per hour. Yet power is just one dimension of this car's driving experience. Connected services include online radio, over-the-air map updates for the sat-nav, and traffic sign recognition. The My Bentley smartphone app adds features such as perimeter alert asterisk, informing you if your car leaves a predefined area, alongside the facility to preheat the cabin to an optimum temperature. There's also the intelligent navigation system, wireless charging, Wi-Fi, and so on. The introduction was indeed detailed. Jack nodded and asked for the price. The price of this Continental GT is $7,399,999. Philip said with his eyes shining. It was obvious that after this, the amount of commission that he would receive would make his life have a qualitative leap. Okay, I'll get one. Now, for the pickup. Jack nodded as he made his decision before turning his attention to the pickup section. Author's note. Hello guys, thank you for supporting this book so far. I hope that we'll keep on doing so. Note, I'm not good when it comes to cars. So, I just Googled the descriptions of the cars on Google, hope you won't mind. As for the prices, what I'm writing aren't the real market prices, so please, don't take them back to real life. Thanks.